when we created the product, it was always about 1 to 1,000, right? So you create the digital asset thinking that you're going to onboard 1,000, just so to speak. Thing is, it's getting more common that we hear certain clients saying, but I want a one-stop, like just a one transaction between me and another person. So we're actually gonna start working with a real estate company who is working for bringing so they accept crypto and they have the asset, and they were looking for an escrow system, and we have the escrow system because we developed it 1 for 1,000, but other companies or other people are saying that, but I only want to onboard the asset and then 1 investor or 2 thoughts. Can you do that? And based on that, we developed something that is not yet live, hopefully very soon, because our all infrastructure is thought for 1,000. So I will give you like a Ferrari when you want to go on 20 miles per hour, and it's like I can give you the whole thing, but for your thing, I believe that I will bring you more pain, because you can have all these cool things and management, but it's a one-to-one transaction. So we're actually deploying an OTC model, which is going to be what we do. We use our infrastructure without giving you access to the whole thing, but it does allow you to secure the payment or reconciliation processes when it's a 1-to-1, 1-to-5, which is more simpler what you're looking for. Did I answer your question, maybe?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for your pitch. What I was wondering are 2 main things. First of all, I have not so clear who is literally your customer. I mean, the client that you are dealing with is which is the kind of profile that they have. And on the other side also, it is much more like a permission or permissionless way. So it's something like a platform as a service, or on the other side, because you are always talking like that you are having a relationship with the customer. So it looks like much more like an agency. So you are bringing your customer all along the way of the process. And also from the point of view of the asset that you are gonna tokenize, there are different kind of assets that can be tokenized on chain, but I still don't get which is the kind of asset you are tokenizing. It's like real estate, is like stocks, is commodities, is T-bills or whatever. And finally, also connected obviously to what I just said, how do you position yourself against the competitors that are working into this niche?
All right, so let me break down your question. I will go for the most radical one. How do you tokenize a building?
Which one, sorry?
How do you tokenize a building?
A building? I don't know. I'm not I'm an advisor. I'm a YouTuber. I'm an analyst. I'm not someone who is tokenizing.
Sorry if I put you on the spot. That's the beauty of it. Like in the marketing way, we say like we're tokenizing real estate, but how do we do it? So we have to go to the contractor level. We have to go to the corporate below. So the way you tokenize assets is by tokenizing the underlying financial instrument that is linked to the asset. That's the only way you can tokenize absolutely anything, because buildings don't have a legal personality. They have no rights and obligations. So you don't sign a contract with the building who the building says like, hey, I'm going to deploy you interest or dividends, because it's immovable, right? So what you do is you tokenize the company, or you tokenize the agreement between the company and the asset. If you think about it like that, that means you can tokenize absolutely anything. Because if you tokenize a company, it's equity or the agreement that it's exploiting the asset or how the asset is going to be purchased. That means you're tokenizing actually the financial instrument that it's underlying, which gives you access to the asset. If you understand, when we all as a globalization, we understand that's how you tokenize, then that means you can tokenize absolutely anything. Ricken itself is not expert in real estate tokenization. It's expert in asset tokenization. So if a promoter comes to us and wants to use our technology, then it's done. If they want to come for raising their Series A,
but even so, if I'm a customer, if I'm someone who is looking for tokenizing something, I have a clear in my mind what I want to tokenize, and obviously I will go to the one who is saying me, I don't know, I want to tokenize a building. I would go to someone who is specialized into tokenizing building, and not just someone who is saying me, I'm tokenizing. And also, I don't understand what you do is like, I'm coming to your platform and I'm tokenizing something, or is I have to call you and you deal, you manage the whole process. I don't understand which is the way of doing it.
Absolutely. So I guess we gotta go into how it looks, right? Importance is whoever comes to us, it's not necessarily, well, I mean, we have this demo and then I can provide you the testing phase. It is, I can believe it is true what you're saying. So if you're a real estate, you go to the real estate. But first of all, it is everything that is tokenized also to us. So we already have a funnel for specific people looking into real estate tokenization. Why? Just because we can tokenize real estate and we've done it. And this is one of the reasons why we're showcasing this, because when you want to tokenize something, you may not understand what you want to do or whatnot, but you obviously will go what is triggered by your organic or inorganic leaks. So we're very good into organic and inorganic leaks. So that's why I gather people who want to tokenize from real estate to hydrogen plants to Altel in Mexico. So it don't really matter for me, because I can capture all those leads that saying, hey, I want to tokenize this. I just put them in my right funnel and then I capture. And then they will land in something that looks like this, where I'm already capturing the lead and I already speak the language, because obviously in real estate, we have a lot of guides and information. So I'm already going for the people saying, hey, I want to tokenize my real estate. No worries, I'm always a solution for you. But I'm doing the same, for example, even for venture capital. I'm about to tokenize a fund. How do I capture it? Through a lead generating here. So I had a VC saying, hey, I want to tokenize. And I was like, okay, perfect. It is because of marketing and media buying, how we obtained them and got them into our funnel situation where we speak their language, and then they're like, oh, okay, perfect, this works for me. Yes, it does work for you. So that's kind of like the brief of an answer. Right now, there's 2 tokenization types of way. This is kind of like, if you're an asset manager, that means I am the promoter, tokenizing for myself. So I gather my funds for investors, and then I do my own buying process for whatever building it is. So I am the tokenizer, or I am supplying the technology for third parties to tokenize. And there's kind of like the 2 verticals that it's being built. How the process itself is super simple. Just going to showcase something quickly. Like I said, we broke the system in 3 ways. So the asset creation phase, it's kind of like you build your token economy based on simple question and answers of how it looks, what you want to do. I mean, the whole process itself is kind of like we onboard you to the process, asking these questions: what do you need? What are the next steps? And that leads you face to what it looks like our dashboard, in the sense that once you created your digital asset, we give you the tools for managing the digital asset.
And just to finish, compared to what are the available solutions, which is the difference?
Yeah. So and then Sean, I will definitely go next to you. The main difference is obviously the outputs. I mean, also you have to divide the market itself into 2 big chunks: private markets, public markets, primary markets, secondary market. We are in the primary private market, and we have partnerships for secondary market. There's a lot of also right now, it's like, yeah, you can do an offering on chain and everybody's going to jump. Yeah, it's limited because jurisdiction wise, you need to be compliant with certain rules and regulations. It also depends what country or who you're selling to. So there's a lot of things that you still got to maneuver. The important thing is Bricken itself is specialized on primary private market. If somebody wants to do an IPO, like an initial public offering in a tokenized version, then we connect them with the secondary market who we have a deal with. We have a deal right now with 3 exchanges, one in UK, one in USA, and one in Switzerland, which we're currently building the agreement where we want to work. So the idea is we build them the stages through the first stages of the project and then funding. And then when they reach a level that they want to do an IPO, we can connect them to the tokenized version. Because, for example, right now, Bricken, let's say I'm specialized in volume markets. I will never hit a secondary market with my equity on chain. Why? Because for you to deploy an IPO, wherever you are in the world, I mean, the massive constraints that you have from the monetary point of view, legality, and bureaucracy will already crush you. That is why when you go for an IPO version, you go when you have reached a level certain of maturity and a certain degree that can acknowledge that when you push your equity or loans or whatever massively under a secondary market that is regulated, is because you're actually going to make it. So for the time being, we're specialized in private primary markets, which is the first onboarding of all these assets. And if somebody wants to hit the IPO version, then they can go to the secondary markets who we have an agreement with.
So my question was because, for example, when it comes to tokenizing equity, Arcton is doing the same right now. Is using, for example, it's on Arbitrum, working with Camelot. It is a launchpad. When it comes to tokenizing T-bills, we have Matrixport, Eden, Swarm markets, and so on. When it comes to stocks, we have again Swarm markets, but talking with Matrixport and other players are saying that it's not so interesting too. Real estate, there are literally thousands. And I'm wondering which is literally the main difference. The reason it is the customer is that you are bringing the customer from the beginning of the process until the end, because maybe other platforms are much more like a platform as a service, which is the main difference from what you do and what is the literally other players are doing. I don't know, maybe from the kind of profile. For example, if I want to tokenize, I'm a startup with, I don't know, 10,000 capital, that's not your customer. Or is it something that is included into your profile? Or is it just for institutions that are dealing with at least a certain amount of capital under management, or which is the kind of profile?
We're going more for the profile of SMEs towards institutional. Right now, we're even talking with banks in Spain about digitizing certain of their aspects of the tokenization. The difference, I mean, in the end, we're not a launchpad. We're a tech provider. So that means you use our application, you just pay for it, and then you deploy your assets along the way. If you need help, I'll showcase in a little bit what I mean. We do have a service layer, but it's not by us. So we give you the tech provider, we give you the tech layer for you to be able to mint and create your digital assets, distribute and sell. And that gives us a leverage about many of others, because we give the one-stop solution. So we're not just into one of the stages of the digital asset cycle. We don't do with T-bills. I don't want to deal with treasuries. It's a different kind of market. When I'm doing with RWA, it's more on the equity type of thing. So a company wants to digitize its own equity, or a company wants to digitize the loan to acquire an asset. That's kind of like the vertical I'm going through. Yes, of course, there's competitors. I don't mind saying who's my biggest competitor in Europe. It's Tokenizing. Bunch of respect. Started in 2017, did good things by the book. Secondary markets, they're not much competitors. So you have Securitas, T0, and Arc. And you may have other players. Players will be jumping in and all of that on RWA. So at the end, it does matter about the user experience, who you are, like how you have been positioning yourself in the market, and then you have to leverage who you want to work with. So right now, let's pretend that it's 2021 with the whole NFT marketplace. Yeah, how many marketplaces were built? 1,000. What was the difference? Minimum. Sometimes it's better about positioning and seeing who's really leading the expertise or the push forward to become the sole NFT marketplace. Right now, we're about to enter that phase. And I can definitely say that by far, we're one of the top 5 right now in equity tokenization, just because our know-how has been so drastically above the rest. Our user experience and platform, if you want to compare who has the most capability to be able to onboard all of those people that come from a different type of world that you are, which is not blockchain related, which is not even tech related, and then still providing with the product that solves the situation, which is kind of like, I want to jump into this new economy because I want to onboard all of my potential investors into this deal. So yeah, that's how we try to build this. And I'm not saying I'm the only one, by all means. If we were the only one, we wouldn't even be having this, because that means I would be inventing a pain to a problem that doesn't exist. So right now, that's how we are trying to position ourselves, based on a great user experience, great expertise, great branding, great backers, and that's how we actually acknowledging and landing great clients. And as of now, I have 200 million tokenized value, and I believe this year I'm in the easily top 10 of tokenized value being created. So the next step is who keeps all the pie, right? And that's how we are racing to scale and to position even farther into this new economy. Right, Albert, I'm gonna give the word to Sean, if you don't mind.
Thank you.
Sean, you have the raise hand. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I'm actually writing up my questions so I don't forget. Basically, just a bit of follow-up questions on the previous questioner. First, number one, what exactly Bricken can tokenize in the domain of real estate? Is it actually tokenize the deed, which is representing the ownership of the property, or what? Secondly, who are the main customers for this platform? Is it only for the business? It's more geared towards the business customers that's in the real estate industry only, or you guys are open to any other assets, physical assets in the Web2 world? That's the top 2 I have right now.
Perfect. So this is what we have generated as tokenization value now. So we have real estate, fragrance, banking, hotel, app, renewable energy, club, minerals, mortgage, Web3 company, a neobank. Real estate. I want to put this as a franchise and whatnot. Search fund. And we have some great whiskey. Very diverse the asset. Tokenization type. Let's go for country. Panama, Belgium, USA, UK, Mexico, France, Canada, USA, Peru, Italy, Colombia. Tokenization type. Equity, revenue share, debt, equity. So what I'm trying to say with all of this is kind of like we have all over the place clients, because in the end, like I was trying to explain, and hopefully I did a good job, an asset is an asset. We don't put what we need because it's the client who comes in and say like, I want to digitize that asset. I want to tokenize that asset. They are the ones owners of the asset. So we need to give them the technology for that to occur. If it's a real estate, perfect. Go for it. I mean, I'm hoping you're the greatest promoter. You tokenize everything because that's good for my business. If you're the greatest franchise of food, go for it. Yeah, the franchise of food is funny because it's the third biggest franchise of tacos in the world, and they're gonna start giving exposure to the MENA region for the taco franchises, and they want to use crypto to onboard the new investors. They decided the business model. They understood the tokenization as how they're gonna do it, but they didn't know how to do it because when they come to us, it's like, I have this idea. I want to tokenize my franchises. I want to put it all to sell in the MENA region because I want to hit all of these buyer personas that I have already witnessed. Is that doable? And then we give them the solution. 2 days later, they sign. So they came with an idea of tokenization, but they didn't know how it was supposed to happen. And that was what I entered at the beginning. It's kind of like right now, tokenization is very theoretical or very mystical, kind of like tokenization, but nobody really understands how it is performed.
Yeah, thanks for answering that. Let's follow up on that one. So if any business come to you guys, say they wanted to tokenize property, like the massive building in some metropolitan in the United States, and what are the benefits financially or marketing wise? What are the benefits you as a platform can provide to that customer? If you
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking about we're talking about a lot of asset itself management process. So reconciliation. So for example, one of the things that a lot of people don't know, it's you have 1,000 investors in Web2. So that means you have 1,000 bank transfers that you have to go and put it in your whatever program. And then if you want to pay those 1,000 investors back, let's say 10 euros on 100 euros, you have to mean that you have to put 1,000 bank transfer of 10 euros to hit all. And what happens if that investor is, for example, in China, Singapore, Chile, Peru, Germany? That's why they don't accept international, because it doesn't make sense. That's kind of like one of the biggest formulas with asset management. It's the reconciliation process or the asset that's settled. So it's kind of like, that's ridiculous. And in our case, with all of this, it's you don't worry about the onboarding of the investors, the deployment of their capital, and distribution of interest is one click, because it's unweighted average according to the rules that you pre-establish as to how you want to do that. So there's a lot of savings when you go through a digitized tokenized version for asset management. This is the main reason why banks are starting to play with all of this. It's because of the reconciliation processes. There's a lot of things that need to be balanced between onboarding, understanding where is your capital, proving and doing due diligence that your capital being deployed is from this specific person. And then the next phase is kind of like, I have to give them back something. So if they earn earnings, I have to go against that huge database that I just onboarded. Reading it done, I mean, if you're a bank, you own the system. But if you're a third party, that's like, okay, now I have to play with 1,000 different banks, 1,000 different transactions, 1,000 different investors, 20 different countries. So that itself, it's a lot of money being lost. So that's why they're trying to enter into the tokenization place, because the reconciliation processes are about to become ridiculous low. So for example, this is the selling store. So you have access to your dashboard. I'm sorry, this is not saying, it's my sandbox. I don't know what's happening, but either way. And here, anybody can invest now. They pass a KYC procedure. So that means SumSub is our KYC provider. So they get pre-approved, and then it goes to the issuer who decides if they want to accept it or not, for them to be whitelisted. When it gets whitelisted, then they can start deploying capital in your project, and you go into the whole management of situation for it. So it's kind of like, we give you the solution for you to create your digital asset, but also to sell it to third parties, and then onboard your investors, and then manage them or deploy earnings or communicate with them, post and quarterly reports and whatnot. So it's kind of like we give you all into one stop.
Gotcha. Okay, I think we should give time to the next questioner. Yeah, thank you for your explanation.
Oh, hey, hello, Dash. I can hear you.
Hi,
I think you.
yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Hi, Edwin. It was very impressive about your presented. Well done so far. I'm the CEO of the EventSex. I just have a few questions. We are a UK-based company. So is your company able to do this process in countries like UK as well? You have legally.
Let's go more as to the explanation. We are the tech layer. We give you the solution for you to create your asset, put it up to sell, and then manage whatever comes after. Your investors, your treasuries, your governance, whatnot. So that's kind of like the tech. What happens with the legal? One of the things you were saying. So that's a great answer, because that's a great question, because we're agnostic on where you issue your thing. It is super important for me to introduce that we were working for 6 months alongside the Spanish commissioner for the creation of our platform. We were part of the financial sandbox under the guidance of the Spanish Security Exchange Commissioner and the Bank of Spain. We were able to understand what we were, because we were like providing tools for a company to raise on their own, something that might look like a public offering, and they were like, well, you're a crowdfunding, and then they're like, oh wait, you're not. Or maybe you're a broker. Oh no, wait, you're not. And I was like, I don't touch funds. I don't touch absolutely any assets. It's all owned by our user. And then we're like, okay, so it seems you're a tech provider. And I was like, okay, perfect. Thanks for the definition, because that gives me my compliance level. I don't need a license to execute mine, because if you meet a security, you can pretty much also mint an asset that never does anything, or a meme coin, because I'm just giving you a solution that is specialized for the issuance of or mimicking of real world assets in equity or debt, but it can also mean for nothing. And that was where I landed. So if I am the tech layer, how do I provide the service? I don't provide absolutely any single service. And somebody before said like, but that means zero clients or customers. Yeah, it's my matter of speaking, because I come from the service layer. I was a lawyer, so I always provide services to my clients, and that's where I got. But in reality, I have no connection with my clients except my sales team. With they onboard them, they pay the contract, and they're good to go. If they need a service such as legal, because they're deploying capitals in UK, which actually just updated the regulation with a legal opinion from the commissioner saying that UK funds are going to be it. Thank you for that, because that was an amazing information for us. We give them access to our partner place where they can go for different law firms in different countries, and they can connect with our UK partners. So we already created above 100 agreements with different law firms across the globe for the curating of tokenization, because the idea was that it's like, if I'm able to scale technology wise, I can scale super easily. I just deploy the tech and that's it. Client itself can come and say like, yeah, but I have no clue if I'm doing illegal. It's like, you know what? I acknowledge your pain. I am not your solver. But let me do something. Let me connect with this law firm that understands tokenization and is already understanding how it works, and then you just onboard it. So the idea now is we're even packetizing these kind of things. In Spain, super easy, right? In Europe, I have a lot of packetized solutions already. Kind of like, here's the tech, and if you want to work with these law firms, they can help you do whatever you want. So I'm already kind of like fulfilling through my partners the legal pain. And in case we also got greedy and they were like, okay, let's simplify the scope. Why not? So now we're working with marketing agency. We have financial advisors. We have a lot of things that we think would be a service that we don't want to provide because it's not our tool. We're a tokenization platform technology-wise, but there's other players out there who might want to put in their services and see if they're matched.
Gotcha. One second question. In your case studies, I have saw your platform able to tokenize the startups. Can you able to give small information about that, and what kind of criteria it need to be met to tokenize as a startup?
As a tech provider, honestly, I could just shoot the tech and everybody can use it because they can do whatever they want, right? I mean, in the end, I'm not the block. Nonetheless, it's my brand, and I like to do things more orderly. So every single user who wants to be onboarded needs to pass a KYB. We request information that is no more than when you open a bank account in a certain European country. Based on that KYB, our legal department acknowledges and accepts the whitelist address, which is going to be the minter of the digital asset. So that's how first assurance of protection. It's not going to be 100%. Even passing the KYB, some bad player can pass through, but at least we do have a blocker and understanding if something happens. So that's kind of like the onboarding process for potential client.
Yeah, my last question is, you guys have GDPR compliance?
GDPR?
Compliance?
Yes, of course. No,
okay.
We have GDPR, anti-money laundering. My compliance manual is 137 pages.
Okay, cool. But is that available in the in website, or we can review that?
I mean, you can always go to. Sorry.
Because I am asking these questions. I like what you guys do. So I need to check about the legal side, because we are very thorough about the legal. Because as a company, we are very close working with. Yeah.
This is kind of like how I prove that legality comes first, and we did everything by legal design. Our staking contract has terms and conditions you need to accept. So we have absolutely everything that touches an outsider is under a terms and conditions, under certain rules and regulation. So privacy policy, my GDPR compliance is of need. I have DPA signed across the globe with every single client and provider. We have a DPA, a data processing agreement. So we need to understand if we're the controller or the processor in the relationships and whatnot. And obviously, I have all the definitions as to rights and obligations as to why I believe I am a data controller in certain things or a processor in other things. I have all the rights in place. Registering the Spain and Spanish administration. Myself, I used to be a DPO, data processing officer for the last legal tech, and currently I do have an in-house DPO, which is my head of legal. And that's kind of like the regulatory compliance point of view. Just so we know, next year we will incorporate an information security management system audited on the ISO 27001. I also don't like just the compliance regulatory point of view, but also how we handle information and security internally. And basically, I believe that I am as the book as it can be, but obviously, please review our policies. I'm happy to discuss whatever legal constraints you may think we have. And thank you very much for your conversation, for your question.
Thanks, Edwin. It's a pleasure speaking. Thanks.
All right. I think we reached the hour.
Yes, thank you so much, Edwin, for this amazing pitch. Yes, guys, we have 1 minute left. Thank you so much again for your participation. We appreciate it a lot. And also, we're waiting for you every Thursdays. You're always welcome. And feel free to send your feedback about this call in our Telegram account. We're doing this for the first time, so your opinion is valuable for us and we want to grow. And yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you very much for your time, and hopefully you get to enjoy Bricken. And if you want to chat, we're always open for whatever kind of network partnership, because the world is getting tokenized. So let's start right away. Thank you very much.
Thanks.